My name is Tolulope Adeyinka. I manage the business, the Fintech business for Mastercard in the West Africa region.
Well, that's really cool. What were you doing before that?
I was a banker for like 16 years. I worked with about three banks, three key banks in the industry, Nigerian banking industry. I've had stints with product management, retail banking, trade products management, international trade to be precise. I've also done structured finance, commercial banking, corporate banking, and lately, towards the end of my banking life, I started e-business when we started e-commerce in Nigeria around 2012.
Jumia.
Yeah, that was with Jumia and Konga.
Yeah.
That was when I started developing interest in payments, e-commerce, all those things. And then when CBN started issuing licenses to Fintechs in 2016, I developed interest in the Fintechs, and I worked with a number of them. And then that's where I started, my Fintech enthusiasm. The Fintech enthusiasm in my career. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that, Tolu. One thing I asked that for a reason because I wanted to know your experience, but I'm sure you have a lot of context when it comes to fintech and banking here in Nigeria. I'm curious to know what's really exciting you from experience. What's making you wake up every morning and say, "Wow, we're really doing this thing here in Africa"?
I think that's even though the question appears to be simple, it's very
hard.
complicated.
Yeah, it is.
You know why? What we do is to make impact. Anything we are doing that doesn't have impact on society, then is a waste of everybody's time. So I think there is a place where banks come in, and there's a place where fintechs come in, and that there is a term I like to use: co-opetition. Co-opetition is not competition.
Can you explain that to me?
So what it means is that even though it appears that as though we are competitors, we are not actually competitors. We are cooperating to solve a problem. So you have a strategy, you have a strength that I can leverage, and I have a strength that you can leverage. As a bank, you may have experience with risk management. You may have the spread across the country. You may even have the data and the customers, right? But as a fintech, I have the technology, I have the speed, I have the agility, and I'm able to innovate faster, make things move faster. I'm able to solve problems, and the regulation will have to catch up with me, because some things that I do as a fintech is not even envisaged by the regulator. It is after I start doing it that regulators and I have to sit down and say, okay, this makes sense. It's making impact. Okay, let's do something around it. So that's combination of the bank and the fintech is very good for our society. And we can see the impact that fintechs have made, not only in Nigeria, but across the continent. You will see that payment landscape across Africa has developed so fast and in such a manner that even the Western world is trying to play catch up with us. That is one thing I am proud of.
That sounds really cool. One thing they mentioned is, I'm sure you know about the Paystack and Stripe acquisition. Someone on this seat earlier was talking about how Stripe introduced pay by transfer, and that's something we've cracked a while back. And Stripe is like a global company that's just doing that because they acquired Paystack. So I'm really proud of how Nigeria's ecosystem has moved to as well.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I want to know from you is, given how fast we've grown, what do you think lies in the future for Nigeria's fintech ecosystem or tech generally?
I think for the future, we need to start thinking about how to make our global technology stack to be locally relevant, and how to take our local relevance to a global scale. Vice versa, you understand? So what I've seen is that generally, if I'm going to use Nigeria as an example, what we've seen is that there are certain global technologies that the user journey for customers in the industry is changing. The culture of payments is changing, and we at Mastercard are adapting to that. in such a manner that we are partnering with local players. Like, for instance, we have a partnership with Mono, where we bring account-to-account payments into our payments gateway, so that if you want to make a payment and you don't have a card, or your card is nowhere to be found, then there's a possibility for you to do a transfer on the same technology stack. So you don't have to do multiple integrations. On one integration, you have account-to-account payments and you have card payments. So you are giving customers a choice. So in terms of future, I think collaboration is key. And we need to find ways of working together, because really the competition is cash. And it also impacts policy and government, because if government is not able to see what we are doing with money, because most of it is being done by cash, government is not able to track how people are spending, and they are not able to tax people. But when everything is digitized, or we have a significantly digitized payments economy, we are able to see what people have done, and we are able to tax them accordingly. And government is also able to use that data to plan and know exactly what is the level of commerce that is happening, because really payments is commerce, and commerce is a measurement of economic activity,
GDP.
Yeah, you get what I mean? So if we are not able to see what the volume of economic activity is, how are we going to be able to plan for the future of our country? So those are things that are very important to me, and I see a future where when we are able to digitize small businesses, we're able to digitize consumers, and we bring all of this together, and it makes everything easy for everybody. We were able to develop new technologies on top of that. Yeah,
that's really cool. One thing I want to learn from you is the talk of this year is emerging technology, AI.
Pardon?
One of the themes for this year is emerging technology. That's AI, crypto,
Yes.
blockchain.
Yes.
What emerging technology is really exciting and making you think, oh, we need to be doing that here at Mastercard too as well?
I don't think most of this is new to Mastercard. Mastercard has been involved in the artificial intelligence, technology for a while now. Like a use case is the cybersecurity, for instance, where we acquired some companies that are experts in cybersecurity, and this enables us to prevent fraud, right? Because we are able to study how transactions happen, we're able to understand how consumers are, the culture of consumers when it comes to payment. So when there is an outlier, artificial intelligence is able to detect that outlier and notify parties that, look, there's something off about this transaction. Can you have a second look at it? Mastercard is at the forefront of that. So we are not just providing payments technology, because when you create technology, there is a negative impact somewhere that you also have to develop. So there must be commensurate level of cybersecurity solutions to manage the technology you have provided. And that's one thing that I know we do very well at Mastercard. And I think for the future of fintech, for the future of payments, we need to be very careful the way we innovate, so that we do not put the ecosystem in jeopardy. And that's why we are developing cybersecurity solutions for the future of technology, to make sure that as fintechs are innovating, as banks are innovating, as players are innovating, they are well protected, and the consumer, the end user consumer, is also protected. Your money is protected, because when there is fraud, there is lack of confidence in the payment ecosystem, and when there is lack of confidence, it's going to set all of us 10 years back. So we need to ensure that we are innovating responsibly.
Okay. As the boss for I'm just saying boss for Mastercard West Africa, something like that.
No, I'm not the boss for.
Yeah,
I'm just a guy, I'm just the guy for fintech.
Sorry, just a fintech guy for
Yeah.
Mastercard West Africa. What fintech is really exciting for you? That is making you think, oh, these guys are really doing cool stuff.
I'm going to be biased if I mention
Mono.
any particular fintech, because we work with so many fintechs, and not just in Nigeria, by the way. In Ghana, we have fintech partners we work with. In Nigeria, we have quite a number of them. Being the biggest in Africa, the biggest fintech market in Africa is Nigeria, no doubt. We are working in markets like Sierra Leone, Gambia, Liberia, partnering with governments, partnering with regulators, partnering with players, banks, to make sure that they have what it takes to solve the problems associated with their society. Remember, I mentioned in the beginning that impact is very key to us.
Yes.
We just don't innovate or sell products. We provide solutions to problems. And we work with the Fintechs because we provide their technology stack, which they innovate upon and then resell that to customers. But I can mention maybe one or two Fintechs that we have worked with, for instance, who are doing something new, something fresh, something different in the market. For instance, there's a company called Blue Salt, for instance, where
Blue Salt?
Yes, we have managed to create a card as a service system.
What does that mean?
Card as a service means that a fintech, an end user fintech who wants to develop a card program for their customers, they don't need to build the entire technology stack themselves. They don't need to start looking for a processor. They don't need to start looking for a bank. They don't need to start looking for maybe an OEM to give them a card management system and all the technologies that are required to develop a card program. They need to go to one provider who already has all the value-added services that come with the card program, and will just give it to them as an API. And then ordinarily, something that should take them months or even years to build will take them a few days or weeks to switch on. So that saves them cost. It saves them time. You understand? And it also enables them to go to market faster, to start earning revenue. Those are the kind of solutions we are bringing to market. And I'm very proud that we are working with so many fintechs today who are doing great things in the market. You cannot imagine the level of innovation that these fintechs are having in the market to support businesses. And I mention businesses because we have a team in Mastercard that focuses mainly on small businesses, SMEs. And because we know that that is the highest segment that employs people across the country. So we are working with government. We are working with partners like Smidan, for instance, working with partners that, even the federal government, to ensure that we're able to provide services that solve the problems that SMEs are facing today. So, those are likely examples I can give to you. Yeah.
Mr. Tolu, do you think there's anything you want to talk about that I haven't yet asked you? I feel it's important.
I just want to commend you guys for this program. Moonshot by TechCabal. I think you guys started last year.
Yes.
And this is the second edition, and I can see the enthusiasm, the participation, the high level of participation. I see that it's bringing the ecosystem together, sharing ideas, networking, and creating opportunities for the payments ecosystem. It's a laudable idea, and I really, really want to commend you guys for setting this up. And I look forward to participating. We look forward to participating in this in the future.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tolu, for your time. It was nice meeting you, and I really like your shoes.
Thank you very much.